Alright. We got 2 minutes left.
I'm still hoping for costumes.
Travis touchdown all the way.
Captain K. Rool. Anything.
It'll be interesting. Kingdom Hearts. Godzilla. Did you see that? Somebody wrote Godzilla on the chat.
I don't know. Kingdom Hearts, that would be interesting.
I might cry if it's Travis. But that's fine. Oh, 1 minute left. I guess I'll do full screen. You got your phone time?
Yep, 5:59.
You could look at the red hand too. Because when the red hand goes all the way.
Should I just unlock the door for Mike?
Mike Jones is also joining us, gentlemen. Tell him door is open, Mike. We need to get Travis touchdown. Yeah. All right. No, what's happening? Folks, let's see. Can you see Ashman?
Yeah. It's almost time.
There's the red hand. Oh crap, it's happening.
It's happening.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alright, it's 6.
There we go.
Are they running late? Any moment now. Alright. Let's go. No, it looks weird with this filter on.
What is this about? What is this about?
Oh, there it goes. Oh crap.
Hello everyone, I'm Masahiro Sakura, director of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate from Sora Limited. We'll be using today's showcase to give you a first look at our next DLC fighter. Actually, hardly anyone knows what we'll be announcing today, even among Nintendo staff worldwide. The development team and other stakeholders have been working on this fighter with the utmost secrecy. Which means other Nintendo staff around the globe will only start making preparations for release after the showcase has been broadcast.
That's good.
So, it won't be available right away. Please understand that it will take a little time.
That's fine.
I think even many Nintendo employees will be surprised to see this and say, wow, really?
Really?
So, let's all share in the fun of getting our hands on the latest information. However, even if you say, that's not the character I was picturing, I hope you don't have any hard feelings. We've prepared a fighter reveal video. Once it starts, I think you'll figure out who it is pretty quickly.
Let's see.
Now, let's do this.
Yeah. Is it Fire Emblem? God bless it. Really?
The time has finally come to unleash the forbidden spell of Zaharat upon our enemies!
There's gotta be a fake out.
What were you thinking, charging right into an enemy's trap? As you and I are one, I too am trapped within this void. In time, our hearts and minds will cease to be. Are you prepared to die?
Oh my god. No way. Well then.
I thought as much. I also do not wish to die. And yet,
No. I'm overthinking.
there is no other choice. You must join Smash.
Okay, so it's just him.
Huh?
Join Smash Brothers already! What in the world are you waiting for?
Byleth, huh?
So joining Smash consumes even the darkness itself!
Man.
on the internet and well, his costume. Does that mean you can be the female too? Say the same thing as Hero.
So you return, and sooner than expected. I see. Too many swordsmen, are there? And you wield the sword as well? What will you do? Huh. So that is how you plan to win the day? So be it. I'll reward your cleverness this time. How is this? Of anyone, you should be able to handle the hero's relics. With Arid Fire, strike with superior reach.
No, I saw
Use
all.
Amir's overwhelming power.
Yeah.
That means the other Byleth can use it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Unleash the blinding speed of Failnaught. Along with the sword of the creator, each weapon matches a direction.
My card really loves fire.
Your will and mine be now one.
We get his Sakura. Really good.
To you,
Another game.
both sides of time are revealed. Through Smash, show the world.
That's what he meant. 3 houses.
That's freaking.
Fantastic.
Yes, there you have it. Byleth from Fire Emblem Three Houses is joining the battle. Fire Emblem Three Houses was released just last summer, so it's still very new. Even so, you'll soon be able to play as them in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. This release is planned for January 28th. You'll have instant access if you have the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Fighters Pass, and it will also be available for purchase individually. In case you're not familiar with Fire Emblem or Three Houses, I'll explain a few things, so don't worry. First off, what is Fire Emblem? It's really hard to pronounce in Japanese. The producer said it's okay if I just say Fire Emblem. But when writing it, if you don't write Fire Emblem, the Fire Emblem police will come and get you, so please be careful. The series' first entry launched in Japan on the Famicom in 1990. You could say it was a pioneer in the genre of tactical role-playing games. You might be wondering what makes it particularly tactical. Well, it's tactical in that it simulates combat. You can think of it as moving pieces in a board game, or in other words, a game in which you advance units across a grid in battle.
I thought the line sounded really similar. That's like how you prepared that. Like, no.
When we talk about tactical games of that era, there were lots of ones in which you command tanks, aircrafts, and so on. But Fire Emblem was unique because
it was
each
unpredictable,
unit
but
was a
in the
specific
bad
character,
way, I guess.
sort of like in role-playing games.
He did it, but that's what sucks. This is how he did it on the Wii U. Korn was the last character.
Something made it stand out from other Nintendo products.
And then
characters
the whole
were
thing about the
permanently
DLC being people that haven't been in other.
That's pretty direct language though, so perhaps we should just say that
I'm sorry,
sleeping with
I
officials.
like the character, but not for this.
But really, if a character fell in battle, you'd
Man,
lose
it's just
that
like there's
unit.
already
They'd be
so
gone and
many
you couldn't
Fire
use them
Emblems.
again.
Like so many. Like it's not even Smash Bros.
Recent entries in the series maintain this concept of permadeath to some degree in classic
We
mode
were
in
talking about that last night.
but a lot of games now allow strategic withdrawals, so to speak.
I'm pretty sure a few people were joking, hey, wouldn't it be funny if it's another Fire
In the older
Emblem?
games, your units would really be gone, never to be mentioned again. Scary. The game's stories are told like chronicles of war, with increasingly distinct characters and engrossing
What did you
scenarios.
say?
Because how we were talking about this last night.
Oh yeah.
Several
I told him
characters also appear in the
Byleth
Super Smash Bros. Series, and 6 of the 7 can
Is
use a
probably what
counter
they would
attack.
add.
It's their down
Since
special.
Kato Guard would be cool.
But it was
There's
like the
actually a
main
reason
character,
for this.
yeah.
When I was considering how to incorporate Fire Emblem fighters into Super Smash Bros. Melee, I thought it might be interesting to reflect the turn-based nature of the original game. First comes your opponent's turn. They attack and you counter. Next comes your turn.
He's just gonna talk about.
And now, Fire Emblem Three Houses is the 17th game in the series.
I don't care.
People who aren't Japanese in particular might be thinking, 17 games? There are that many? Well, if you include Fire Emblem Heroes in the remakes, but you don't include the Satellaview game, Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE, and Fire Emblem Warriors, then it comes out to 17 games. Let's try saying them in the Fire Emblem Can You Say It challenge.
I can't post this reaction video.
I'll give it a try.
Whack.
暗黒竜と光の剣
Well, at least we could look
外
back.
伝紋章の謎聖戦の系譜トラキア776、封印の剣劣化の
I
剣
stayed up for this.
聖魔の功績、草原の奇跡暁の女神、心眼黒竜
He's
新
flipping us
紋
off.
章
He says F.
覚醒イフヒーローズエコーズ風化設立
There you go, 17.
Oh my god, that's the pose.
今変な数え方してます
So you saw how I was counting in a weird way, right? I was counting in binary.
つまりこれが全部
This is 0. Fold this here and you get 1, and then you get 2. Then 2 plus 1 equals 3. So this would be 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then you get 16. Add 1 and you get 17. Awesome, isn't it? You can actually count up to 31 on one hand. And if you use both hands, you can count all the way up to 1023.
畳の数を数えるの数を
If you've given up counting the knots in a tatami mat, you could always give it a go.
He's lost it, Ashman.
What is Fire Emblem Three Houses? In Japanese, the male version of the main character is called Bereto and the female version is called Beresu, but in English they share the same name, Byleth. Byleth becomes a professor who ends up leading one of 3 academic houses. Once you've chosen a house, you guide them through their school life, and, well, you end up fighting the other houses. After a certain incident, 5 years pass, and you meet up with your grown-up students to battle against the other houses in their regions. It's a very sad game in which your former allies become enemies, turn hostile, and try to kill you. To understand the concept of Fire Emblem Three Houses, I played an early version of the game before its release. I've done the same thing before, with The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, for example. Because I couldn't wait until launch to experience it, or we'd have never made it in time. For that title, I borrowed an early version of the game for 2 days, ran around all the areas, saw the ending, and realized for the first time, I guess we can't really have Breath of the Wild's Princess Zelda as a fighter.
People are funny. Kante looks different than
I did the same this time, but with there being 3 houses and multiple endings, it was really
I do
hard to get a
feel
feel for it.
No. I just think it's better to
And of
keep
course,
watching
there weren't any
slow.
walkthroughs that
Yeah.
reference.
I'm disappointed.
Yeah, I think I know. So, I feel like he's gonna go with this.
The game
Why-
has multiple
why
routes,
aren't they
and the
just coming
outcome
out
of
today?
each is very
January
different.
20th. What else do you need to add to this?
Your
to the
experience will
character?
vary depending on the route you choose, and many of the
Nobody
characters you
was
meet will
prepared.
adopt
None of the
different roles in
Nintendo
the story.
got ready here.
I'll try to avoid spoilers when I'm talking about the fighter. I hope you'll understand. Before my demonstration, I should point out that when I did the Terry Bogard showcase video, I mentioned that it was recorded a month in advance. But this time, we have to account for the holidays and such, so we're filming 2 months in advance of this video's release. Right now, it's actually November. Therefore, some of what I'm about to show you might differ a bit from the finished version. As always, I'm using a special in-game camera and such for demonstration purposes.
I
Here I
wish
go.
had that camera.
Oh, like to show.
Yeah, to do like different shots.
So, this is our new fighter, Byleth. Sadly, they're lacking in mobility. It's maybe a bit better than Robin's, but that's about all you can say for them. Throws are not their strong point either. Their grab lacks range. But actually, you could say that they're a distance demon. The hero's relic they use changes depending on the direction you input with the stick. Each of the hero's relics is a weapon that appears in Fire Emblem Three Houses. They look like bones, and there's a reason for that. First, let's talk about the weapon Byleth uses for upward inputs, the Sword of the Creator. The Sword of the Creator here is Byleth's default weapon. They use it for flurry attacks and tilt attacks, such as down tilt attacks, where it takes the form of a whip.
Good job, man. Plays Fire Emblem so much.
They also use the sword for dash attacks and other moves.
I've been watching.
For their up smash attack,
Also,
they'll
we're doing
whip
a
the
live
sword
video.
upward to launch enemies in the air.
Mike is here, everyone.
For their up air attack,
He made it.
they'll wave the whip sword overhead. The hit detection for this attack lasts for a relatively long time.
I hope
The
so.
up special move is
I hope
really
they-
something.
I don't know.
The sword extends
I
like
really
this,
doubt at this point they'll add
allowing you to do
showing.
things like this.
I don't know.
It was pretty terrifying how I knocked him into the air with that attack. And in addition,
Whoa, that's ridiculous.
you can do awful things like this.
That sucks.
That said, you'll launch opponents upward until their damage reaches a certain percentage.
Fire Emblem. I guess it's cool, but there's just so many other
Exceed that percentage and you'll need to be careful.
I didn't think
You may find it helpful to mid-air
the way
dodge.
that all the DLC had been up to this point.
I've already shown this, but you can also use it to latch onto edges. So that's the up special.
Well, I guess he did say, please
Now,
don't be
for the
disappointed.
sideways
As a character.
This is Erdfar, the same name as the weapon from Celtic mythology.
God, Byleth looks just like Mark.
First, we'll go through the forward and back air attacks. As you can see, they have a long reach. Like so.
Funny thing is, like, I was talking on before,
Marth's air attack keeps opponents in check too, right?
doing the same thing, like, Byleth, like, different directions to different weapons and stuff.
That's what they did.
If Byleth does the same thing, you'd win out, so you should be able to beat it. Next, the side smash attack. This also has a long range. It'll connect even from here.
Yeah, the stage is cool, so.
Also, if you add an upward tilt, it will be stronger.
I think that's unnecessary.
And if you've knocked an opponent down, the side attack won't hit unless you add a downward tilt to aim for them.
It would have been funny to watch how many people were viewing it.
By the
and
way,
seeing,
the
like,
tip
half
of the
them
lance
go
is more
away.
powerful. The shaft part is weaker,
Oh, yeah, it's like,
so it's not suited to close combat. It won't deal much damage, and it won't launch opponents far. That's why, as a rule, you want to hit with the blade part aimed upward, or downward in this case. Next, the side special move.
Hey, Squiddy. Down here.
Byleth will simply swing the lance like this, but again, it has excellent reach. For example, even when your opponent is at this distance, it'll still hit.
It is slow, though.
Actually, you can do a smash attack to charge forward a little, like this. But as you'd expect, it can be easily shielded, so be careful. Use it in midair and you'll carve up a large area. Returning to the side air attacks from earlier, they have great horizontal reach, but they lack verticality. So this complements it well, although you'll be vulnerable when you land. Now, for the downward inputs. For these, Byleth will use an axe called Emir. It's named after a weapon that appears in Ugaritic myth. First, the down air attack. It really is strong. You can try for a meteor effect with this attack.
It's like, this is what you get.
Next is the down smash attack.
I'm gonna do 2
Heavy swing of the axe back and forth. As you can see,
But I'm like hoping for it. I'm anticipating for it.
when readying the move, there's a super armor effect,
Still.
which allows you to withstand an attack.
I mean, it's like.
Just so you know, if you execute a Falcon Punch at about the same time,
Shit.
it plays out like
It's
this.
like DK's upbeat.
It's a bit
for that
slower
trigger.
than the Falcon Punch, but due to the super armor effect, you have the advantage, unless you get grabbed.
Once you get grabbed.
Another notable aspect is that it lets you pass through platforms. While you're charging up, you can breeze past platforms like this to reach a lower area. It won't let you jump, but you could use it as a surprise attack. Also, you can turn around during the move. The swing takes a while, so if an opponent runs behind you during the move, you can quickly change direction. Even though it can be hard to land a hit with this move, it can be really effective when used against a group of opponents. Plus, even if you fail to land a direct hit, any opponents on the ground nearby will still be launched a little. It's as if the quaking of the ground launches them. By the way, earlier I talked a little bit about the other Fire Emblem characters' moves. I don't recommend using this down special against fighters from the Fire Emblem series, because you'll just get loads of counters. It hits with that much power in a single attack. Counters can actually multiply the power of blocked attacks, and using easily anticipated attacks like this could just get you hit by counter after counter.
Sakurai. I would have never known.
Next, we have the neutral moves. The bow you use is called Fail Not, which shares its name with the bow from the Knights of the Round Table. It only appears in a few neutral moves. You've got the neutral air attack. This attack is similar to a move of Pit's and other fighters like him. It lets you spin the weapon around. It's also easy to create certain combos with it. And with the neutral special, you'll let loose an arrow. It seems pretty straightforward, right?
Yeah.
But there are a few noteworthy aspects to this bow.
Let me guess, it keeps damaging you.
First, the biggest difference between this bow and Link's is that once you enter the command, you can keep charging until it's ready. You can't release it partway through the charge, so when it does fire, the arrow travels at high speed. It's also very powerful. That said, you can still cancel out of the stance using the shield button. You can also change direction while in the stance. It works up until this point, but if you keep holding the button, you'll unleash a powerful arrow that looks like a beam of light. You can perform this move by keeping the button held down. You charge up power like so, charge a bit more, and then fire. But again, you'll need to take care when using this move. For one, when you've powered up the move to its max, there's no way to cancel out of it. Not even with the shield button. In other words, you're committed to firing it. So you see, a situation like this is pretty terrible.
Good.
Once you've entered the stance, you won't be able to do anything. Which means it's quite the risky attack to use against fighters who have a move with a reflector effect. But you could always just aim into the fray, as it is, after all, a long-range move, letting you deal a sudden blow to opponents. So you need to think carefully when using this projectile weapon. Byleth's final smash is called Progenitor God Ruptured Heaven. In the original game, there's a move called Ruptured Heaven. This is an enhanced version.
Can you believe it? No, we can't!
As you can see, you team up with the mysterious Sothis and launch an attack
Oh
together.
my god. What, she's gonna announce that. So this is also she got tired of being a Final Smash.
Now, let's talk about the color variations. It's set up so that the default and odd-numbered color variations are male, while the even-numbered
Sakurai,
ones
we
are
know
female.
you've done this twice already.
However, the third, fourth, and fifth colors are, as you can see, reminiscent of the house leaders. Those of you who played the original game will of course understand what I'm referring to.
Sakurai, I know.
The sixth color is based on Sothis, who you just saw earlier. And the seventh and eighth variations have a different hair color, which is based on something that occurs in the course of the original game's story. Didn't we see this variation in the final Smash?
Does that mean there's one more? 3 liters.
Next, I'll introduce the stage.
2 orange areas.
For this one, we of course tried to recreate the place where you spend most of the game, Garreg Mach Monastery.
But who's gonna get it? The male or
This is how
female one?
Garreg Mach Monastery is laid out in
Oh
the
no,
original
sofas.
game.
There we go.
From these, we chose to have it cycle through the marketplace, reception hall, bridge, and cathedral all in one stage. It's the type of stage that rotates through different areas, such as these 4. Let me introduce each of the guests that appear in these 4 areas.
Okay. I'm used to this.
The first area is the marketplace.
This is like crap.
I think this is where a lot of people come to do their shopping.
I will cover
The
it
guests
for
that appear
nothing.
here are students of the Blue Lion's house, Dimitri,
Explain
Dedu,
up
and
there.
Ingrid.
Literally exactly like
Not Dimitri, Dudu, or Ingrid. Their names are a bit difficult to say. They're largely from the Holy Kingdom of Fargus. Since it's a kingdom, that means they have a monarchy. For that reason, I guess you could say Dimitri is the future king. He had quite the difficult life and may or may not end up
people
with
got
just
so
one eye.
excited for this stuff.
He's an
Like,
unfortunate
man,
one.
Smash House literally held.
There are vendors on either side. In the original game, these are important
Break
booths
it.
where you buy all sorts of things. But
That's what I'm gonna do.
here you can break them, you see.
I did not ask for broccoli.
If you
We're not
do
asking
break
for
them,
Byleth.
the stage will expand to the left and right. I wonder where people will buy their supplies now. And in the background, you can see the gatekeeper. You often pass through this area in Fire Emblem 3 houses, and you end up talking to him a
I
lot.
know, Sakurai. I played
Moving
the
through
game.
these areas is possible thanks to this mysterious platform. Just when it seems like you've come to a stop,
Well, that actually looked cool. You're just fighting
you'll
here.
come crashing back down. We've broken through the ceiling and slammed into the building.
This Edelgard, Mercedes.
And the guests in the reception hall are Edelgard, Dorothea, and Petra of the Black
Dorothea?
Eagles. Take note, it's not spelled Edelgard. They're from the Adrestian Empire. And as such, they embrace their military might.
Dorothea's opera singer.
Edelgard is one of the characters who is central to the conflict. Depending on the path you take, she'll go through some
At
terrible
least we got rid
ordeals.
of the Fire Emblem characters. Like there's no way
You'll
to
notice
add-
there are prominent
We're gonna add
shoulders at the
We'll
stage.
find a way. We're gonna add
It's
First
possible
time.
to knock them down.
First time on this ride.
However,
got Roy.
Byleth can't actually reach
Then we
it,
got Corn.
even though it's their stage.
Yeah, that's exactly.
You can reach it with other fighters, though.
Prepare
So,
yourself.
it's nice if you can work your way up there by getting lucky by being launched up, or perhaps by
So you
using
know
one of the
what? I
fighters
really
as a
like
stepping stone.
Edelgard.
There we go.
So
I
I'm
made
gonna
it.
add her.
And you can knock it down. Also, you can break this table. Like so.
There.
Just like the sign that reads Furin Kazan in the Suzaku Castle stage, it can break if you launch the opponent into it at close range. Next up, the bridge. The camera rotates 90 degrees, creating this long area. It's very wide indeed. It's similar to the bridge of Elden stage. The guests are from the Golden Deer, Claude, Hilda, and Lawrence. They belong to the Leicester Alliance.
That's the bow and arrow guy.
Because it's an alliance of many noble families,
I always
we could
like
say
that.
that they have a wide assortment of members. And Claude is the sharpest of the bunch. Incidentally, both Claude and Hilda are the names of characters that appear in Genealogy of the Holy War, the 4th title in the Fire Emblem series. I guess once you've reached the 17th game and are creating 40 characters for each new entry, you're bound to get a bit of name overlap. The naming process must be tough. Hey, it looks like the Pegasus Knight is busy training. As for the bridge's design, it's just a long pathway, plain and simple. You can expect plenty of blows to be exchanged at the edges of the screen. You could also say it's a place where the fail knot really shines, and in this sense, I think it suits the Golden Deer perfectly.
What happens if they both shoot at the same time? Will they count it?
I hope they both kill each other. Permanently take themselves out of the game.
He's like, oh,
The last area
he's
is
like,
the
oh,
cathedral.
by the way, this is all.
Only with some platforms you can pass through. The guests appearing in the cathedral are Sedith, Flame, and Rhea. There's Sedith, who appears to have an extremely strong bond with his sister, Flame. She seems to be under the protection of him and Rhea, who you can see fighting during the opening of Fire Emblem Three Houses. All three have character quirks related to their true identities. I feel that Flame might be saying shush at this point, so I'll leave it at that.
Rhea looks like
This is a simple area of the stage. All it has are these platforms. Being the last area, it may be a place where some intense battles will be waged. It'll cycle through each location in about 2.5 minutes. Okay, today we'll have a tag team battle in Squad Strike with the DLC team pitted against Fire Emblem protagonists from throughout the ages. That'll give us precisely 5 players per
Yeah, pretty
side.
much.
Alright, here we go, Joker.
Yeah, it's about to be over.
Joker! And Hero!
Bump this.
Gee, we really made a lot, huh? Banjo! By now, I think you know what I'm doing.
He's gonna.
But basically, I'm trying to defeat all 5 opponents with just the professor here.
probably just level 3.
But as expected, it's going to be a pretty tough battle, so I'm using anything I can get my hands on. It's not going to land that easily. Uh-oh, this is bad.
He probably only posted the video of him winning it. He had till November to get a good game.
Spend his time trying to beat it.
Yeah.
I'll use this chance to attack. Got it. That's scary. He's invincible for a moment here. Lots of explosives. Ouch. Perfect shield of that, huh? Good one. If I do this, or like so. No anti-air, huh? There, the soccer ball connected. Good, there's Mom. You're in a good spot, Mom. Ah, I shouldn't have taken that. Gardevoir. Well, I guess no one uses projectiles. At this point, it doesn't matter if Gardevoir's there or not. I feel like the enemy might get this smash ball. See? They got it.
He kills you.
But I mustn't give up. I can't waste the chance. There's another smash ball. Yes, got it. Now.
I do appreciate that.
What are you charging up for?
Yeah.
There's still more.
Love is usually freaking
Whack.
kill 3 or 4.
Go on, you can take the hammer, but it's mine.
Oh,
Although I'm scared I might get hit with a counter in this state. I hit him. I was trying to fight using Byleth's abilities alone, but what matters is that I won. Good game.
he likes female violence.
It can be fun to play like this, especially in tag team, so I think it's a good idea to try imposing different types of challenges on yourself. The end.
We got 50 billion.
Now, about the additional music. Since it's from the Fire Emblem series, we'll be adding each of the new tracks to all the Fire Emblem stages. There are already a lot of Fire Emblem tracks in the game. Our selection this time has been made taking those existing tracks into consideration. 11 songs are being added. This includes an arrangement of the main theme in both Japanese and English. I hope you'll enjoy these as well.
I'm so glad I learned that today.
We're also adding in a new spirit board. It includes the house leaders among some of the other popular characters.
Well, they lied.
No, wait. What did he say? Whatever company it was?
Sothis is Legend class.
He was talking about how...
Also, there's a new classic mode route, a Heroic Legacy, which is designed to let you enjoy classic Fire Emblem stages from throughout the series' history. The final battle is against Master Hand and Crazy Hand, but you'll find that something pretty amusing happens, so look forward to that.
Do they turn the game off?
Now for the Mii Fighter costumes. Please take a look.
They go, turn it off. If they add Gino like this, that'll be messed up.
It's all true. Watch, we're gonna get Steve or something.
Zelda? No, Altair? No,
Assassin's Creed?
That's
Never heard of it.
That's Assassin's Creed.
Oh, so this is the guy from Assassin's Creed? Dang, that's crazy. They added that. That's cool.
Lord.
Well, that's fine.
That's fine, yeah.
Better than an actual character.
That's kind of
Oh, it's just X.
I forgot that they didn't have this one yet.
Cuphead? So
That's cool. They had talked about that.
dang.
Costume.
That's
The Cuphead, that
Yeah, it's
looks
cool.
just like it.
yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, that was really random. That's more shocking than anything. 1 minute left.
はい、今回
This time we're releasing a Cuphead costume. And for those of you who purchased the Cuphead costume, an additional song will be added. It's called Floral Fury, and it's the theme that plays when fighting Cagney Carnation.
Flower one.
I hope you enjoy these as well. After purchasing a costume, I recommend using the sharing feature. If someone has created a Mii Fighter, you can play using the costume it's wearing immediately after you download it. And now, onto the amiibo. The color palette for Dark Samus looks pretty good, doesn't it? Dark Samus and Richter are planned for release on Friday, January 17th.
Tomorrow.
はい、そして今回
And now, with the addition of Byleth, the Fighter's Pass is finally complete. The lineup was Joker, Hero, Banjo and Kazooie, Terry Bogard, and Byleth.
So the color through kind of correct.
From more than 70 fighters, only 5 have been added. But I must say, this game has always been an exceptional experience. And since the roster was already so large to begin with, right from the start, we intended to make the most out of the new gameplay mechanics and so on. There really were a lot of new mechanics, weren't there? When we add a new fighter, we don't simply make their attacks or their movements a little different. Instead, we try to offer you a whole new style of play. As I stated, we'll continue to release more DLC fighters down the line. I had thought that 1 or 2 might suffice, but, well, have a look.
What?
5 more characters.
He's gonna show us. Oh, well, he's got more back. Oh, yeah.
Wow. 11.
Who could they possibly add, though?
Looks like there'll be 1 more fighter than last time. For this reason, we will be releasing the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Fighters Pass Volume 2. It will be available for pre-purchase on the date shown, so please keep an eye out. And now that it's official, we intend to move ahead with development. Of course, like last time, the contents will remain unknown for now, and I'm personally very sorry that we have to release Fighters Pass Volume 2 when the details have yet to be revealed. Like last time, I'd be very grateful if, despite that, you would understand why and purchase it. Furthermore, the new additions have already been decided. Even if I receive many requests regarding potential candidates on Twitter, I'm afraid it would be very hard to consider them. But I still hope you'll look forward to it. We're also including a bonus with Fighters Pass Volume 2. Last time, it was a Rex costume. But this time, here's what we have. It's a Mii Fighter costume for Mii Sword Fighter, the ancient soldier gear from The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild.
No, it's dumb.
This will not be for sale individually, so it can only be acquired as part of Fighters Pass Volume 2. It's been reported that Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is the highest selling fighting game in the world. Personally, I don't know if it counts as simply a fighting game, but I guess it's seen as a fighting game around the world. Seems like Street Fighter 2 was in the lead for a while, but now Super Smash Bros. Ultimate has surpassed it in total sales. However, I'm not sure if this is accurate. There were 5 versions of Street Fighter 2, or 6 to 7 if you really want to get into the weeds. Plus, there's the arcade versions and the 25 ports to other systems, so I don't know if that's been accounted for. Also, I don't know if that really qualifies as one game. It's up for discussion. So, who knows? But when it comes to a single piece of software, it seems like Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is #1. Although, I still don't know if it can really be called just a fighting game. I feel like it's become more than a fighting game, some sort of celebration of gaming or something else entirely. Also, I feel a deep attachment to the 5 DLC fighters. The first Fighters Pass just wrapped up, but it was decided that there will be more DLC. Which means no breaks for me. I plan to keep working hard, so I hope you can continue to support us. That's it. Thank you.
I thought cry.
Dang it. I mean, hey.
That's it. It's like a middle finger to us. It's like
Pretty much.
thought it was
I'm gonna get you guys 3 more times.
pretty much. It's like it's all 3 Fire Emblem.
So 6 more characters.
All Fire Emblem. Who would have thought?
And that's if he doesn't do another character pass after that.
Yeah.
Because that said it would be, all those characters will be out by December 31st of 2021.
So they have less time.
Wait, 2021.
Oh, it said 2021?
Probably.
Ooh, damn. So they're definitely
Give
gonna
himself
do it.
2 years.
They're definitely gonna do it like.
You're not trying to drag it out as much as
Yeah,
possible.
they're gonna drag it.
Okay, that's fine.
So they don't have to waste, spend so much time doing it.
2021 is way too long.
2 years, man.
I'm gonna be 30 by then.
Pretty much.
Oh man, that sucked.
Oh, whoops, forgot we're still recording. Sorry guys, nothing crazy.
That's cool.
I got stupid excited for no stupid
It's
reason
yours.
because I'm like, oh, maybe they're trolling and it's Travis. All right,
I'm trying to
Later.
see something.
back.